Where you are. Goodbye.
Thank you, Sophie. Hello and welcome to BBC London. Coming up on the programme, a community feeling the pain and anguish of 18-year-old Henry Novak's murder. I'll speak to the family's local MP in Essex. Memorials are being held to pay tribute to Henry, including among the Sikh communities here in London.
We are holding an account part in the memory of Henry Novak so that he may rest in peace, his soul may rest in peace.
It follows protest and unrest last night, which Henry's family say they don't support. Also tonight.
The second round of 24-hour tube strikes starts tonight at midnight. Join me to find out how your journey could be affected.
Plus, how animal therapy is being rolled out across a London NHS trust as part of its mental health services. And looking back at World Cup history with some of those who were there at Wembley 60 years ago. Good evening to you. We start tonight with more on the murder of Essex student Henry Novak, a killing which has shocked the nation. The 18-year-old was treated not as a victim, but as a criminal in his dying moments. Today, questions over the police response and condemnation of the unrest following protests in Southampton, where he was studying. In a moment, we'll speak to the MP who's been supporting Henry's family. But first, this report from Matt Graveling and a warning. His report shows police body-worn footage of Henry Novak minutes before he died, which is extremely distressing.
It was around 24 hours ago that a protest began here at Southampton Central Police Station in relation to the death of Henry Novak from Essex. The 18-year-old was studying here in the city, but it was on a night out back in December that he was stabbed as he walked back to his student accommodation. His killer, Vikram Digwa, had claimed he was the victim of a racist attack. Police body cam footage shows that Novak, who was lying on the ground saying he had been stabbed, was not believed.
You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? Don't think you have, mate.
Instead, he was handcuffed and read his rights. He later died from his injuries. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned the footage, saying watching it made him feel sick. Despite Henry Novak's parents asking for no division, the body cam footage has caused outrage within some groups and led to the scenes that we saw here in Southampton last night. The protest, which started peacefully, later moved on and then became violent, with missiles being thrown at police officers. We heard today 11 officers and a dog were injured. 2 people were arrested. Henry Novak's community in Essex still trying to come to terms with what has happened, but have organised a number of fundraising events, including a football fun day and also a 5k run. They'll be raising money for a charity which supports families after the loss of a child or young person. Matt Graveling, BBC London in Southampton.
Well, Matt mentioned the community in Essex there. Let's pick up on that with Jen Craft, the local MP in Thurrock, where the Novak family lives. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for being with us. We do appreciate it. How are people there feeling?
I think fairly similar to people around the country. I think there is a feeling of horror, really, at the body-worn camera footage. But I think in Thurrock we can be quite a close-knit community at times, and I think there's a lot of people that are seeing either themselves or their child or someone that they loved in Henry, and are, they're worried about what could potentially happen to their child if they found themselves in a similar situation. And I think as well it's really important to note that in the very immediate aftermath after Henry was killed, the community really rallied round the family, particularly in Chafford 100 where he lived and where he went to secondary school and he just left to go to university. There was like a huge memorial. The community just had this outpouring of support. They knew that there was a family in pain and that they reached out to them, and it was really good to see. And I know it gave the family lots and lots of comfort to see that overwhelming support from people that knew and loved Henry.
And we know that you have been supporting the family. You mentioned the harrowing body-worn camera footage, but also the utter dignity with which his family is handling this?
I think it's incredible. I mean, if you watch the family outside court on Monday, and if you consider all that they've had to go through, you know, first of all, finding out that their son, who they'd just said goodbye to, they'd just gone off to university, his whole life ahead of him, that he'd been killed in such a horrifying manner, to then know that his last few moments were spent in such an awful way, being treated so appallingly by the police, and then to go through the entire court case and the things that the killer said about him that have been proven entirely untrue. And then you see them outside the court and the dignity and the courage, and I can't imagine the bravery that it takes to make that kind of statement. And his dad calling, like saying out loud, you know, he doesn't want Henry's death to be used to sow division or hatred or tension. It's incredibly powerful.
And actually, Jen, I think we've got that clip. Let's just hear from Mark, Henry's father.
We do not want his death to be used to create further division, hatred or tension. We want his story to make our streets safer for everyone.
I mean, your reaction?
It's really powerful. I think it's incredibly upsetting when you contrast that to some of the scenes that have happened in Southampton. I think there is a plea to anyone who, I mean, I don't think anyone could have seen that footage and not felt a certain degree of anger and a certain degree of upset. But I think what you must do is use that to, you know, accomplish what Henry's dad is asking for. You know, call on people to reduce the amount of knife crime that's about. You know, look at ways that you can go about supporting that goal. Look at ways that you can go about like supporting community unity. You know, look at all the different ways that you can actually achieve what Henry's dad is asking for in this instance. But like to not to react in a way that, you know, leads to the things that we saw last night, which seems to fly completely in the face of what he wants his son's legacy to be.
And just briefly, I mean, of course, at the heart of this, as you've so clearly mentioned, you know, is a grieving family. But it has sparked, this case, concern, questions and anger. Briefly, where do we go from here?
I think the family deserve answers and they need answers. I think they need answers as to why their son was handcuffed just before he died, why he was thought to be the perpetrator and the killer was thought to be the victim. I think we need to look at why there was a disparity in how Henry was treated and how the killer was treated. And I think they need to know what led the police officers to take the decisions they did when they were interacting with Henry in his very final moments of life. And I think that's something that I will continue to push for. I don't think there was a single voice in the House of Commons today that didn't think that that was something that the family deserves. And I think we need to see where the independent police inquiry leads. And then I think we go from there. And like Henry's dad said, let his legacy be safer streets for everyone. And I think that would be a wonderful thing if that is the legacy of this fantastic young man.
On those poignant words, Jen Craft, local MP for Thurrock, thank you so much for your time. Well, our reporter Alpa Patel joins me now because there has been more reaction from Sikh communities here in London.
Yes, we've been visiting the largest and one of the most prominent Sikh temples in the country, in Southall. The General Secretary there told the BBC that the Gurdwara had been receiving hate calls and there are major concerns over safety there. Here's what he told us.
We've been getting phone calls on our landlines which are very abusive, and a lot of foul language has been used towards the Sikh community. We do not accept what is taking place and the backlash the Sikh community is facing at the moment. We all stay calm. We don't want these matters to grow and increase community tension. We have to live together. This is one world, one planet for all mankind to live peacefully with each other.
Well, he also told us that the Gurdwara is holding a religious vigil from Friday and Sunday this weekend, and they're inviting local MPs and the community to join them. Meanwhile, 11 Sikh MPs have signed a letter to call for calm during these heightened tensions. There has also been a lot of praise for the Novak family, as we were hearing there. Henry's dad particularly praised for his words to call for calm. They have said that they do not support the unrest seen on the streets of Southampton yesterday. Well, the MP for Slough, who is Sikh himself, had this to say.
Mr. Novak, thank you so much for the dignity and the grace and the poise with which you have carried yourself. There were many, including myself, within the Sikh community who were listening, who were watching on your every word. And the way that you conducted yourself, saying that you didn't want this tragedy of your son to lead to further division or hatred or tension, and how this wasn't about Sikhism, it wasn't about racism, it was about the brutal actions of a murderer.
Well, Kelly Hatchard, who says she is Henry Novak's godmother, paid tribute to him in a post on Facebook. In it, she says, "To me, Henry wasn't a headline or a court case. He was my best friend's funny, caring, cheeky son. Henry had a way of making people smile without even trying. He had so much life ahead of him, so many plans and so much love to give." She finished the long statement with the words, "I believe you will go on to change the lives of others by the legacy you will leave. God bless you, my darling." So beautiful words there. And the local community in Chafford 100 in Grays in Essex, where Henry's family are from, are organising quite a few local events in his memory.
OK, Alpa, thank you. Right to end there with tributes to Henry Novak. Turning to other news now, and one of the areas chosen by the government to develop into a new town to try to help ease the acute housing crisis. Cruise Hill in Enfield is one of two sites in the capital where thousands of homes are due to be built. But it's not without local opposition. The new Tory leader of Enfield Council says he'll go to war with the Mayor of London and the government to prevent them building on Greenbelt land. Here's our political editor, Cole Mercer.
Rod Thompson's family have run their business here in Enfield for nearly 80 years. But last September, the government announced that this site, Cruise Hill, had been selected as the home for one of its new towns, bringing more than 20,000 homes here, meaning Rod would have to leave.
Where do we go? You can't just cast us off and ignore us. With 70 staff, I think out of 70 staff, there's 28 mortgages paid from my company alone, let alone the sites in Cruise Hill. It speaks a lot. The people of Enfield have got rid of Enfield Council control. Surely that says something. The people in the area are passionate about it. They don't want to see a new town. There's no infrastructure.
In May's elections, Labour lost control of Enfield Council. It had supported the new town scheme. The new leader definitely doesn't.
If the government and the Mayor of London want to overrule the will of the people of Enfield in the local elections we just had, the same local elections that put me in as leader of the council, to save Cruise Hill, to save the Greenbelt, various sites across the borough, then I will go to war with them in any way that I can.
Which means what?
Well, legal, political and various other ways.
Part of this golf course along the road is also under threat. Campaigners say building on brownfield sites or using empty homes in the borough is a better option.
The new towns are supposed to be place-making. We see it as place-breaking. There's already a place here. It's called Cruise Hill. It's got hundreds of businesses, mostly independent businesses, multiple generation businesses. They employ over 1,000 people. And those jobs are sort of AI-proof, automation-proof. A lot of school leavers get their first jobs there. It's not the sort of place you want to destroy.
This is the reason that the government want to build here. It's got an existing train line, although that would have to be improved if the development went ahead. And at the end of the day, if the government and the mayor really do want to push for Cruise Hill, they'll be able to overrule any local opposition by bringing in things like a mayoral development corporation, as they did for the Olympics and as they're doing for Oxford Street.
We hear a lot, understandably, from people who are currently here. What we don't hear from are the 30 or 40,000 people that may end up living here that get access to houses, access to jobs, etc. But because of the scale of it, what we'll find in most places that they will set up these special bodies where they can concentrate and prioritise expertise and resources to make it happen more quickly.
It's believed the Prime Minister will meet city mayors in the coming days, with new towns near the top of the agenda. Carl Mercer, BBC London.
A brief look at some other news now. A man who killed his partner before starting a fire that triggered a gas canister blast has been found guilty of her murder. Clifton George punched and tried to strangle Annabelle Rook before stabbing her 31 times after she had said they should end their 10-year relationship. And more than 2,500 rental e-bikes have been confiscated by Kensington and Chelsea Council after saying they were an immediate danger or significant obstruction. The council began a crackdown on the unauthorised parking of e-bikes at the start of last year. Now, if you need to travel on London Underground tomorrow, the second of the 24-hour tube strikes this week starts at midnight. Drivers, who are members of the RMT union, will walk out in a long-running dispute over a 4-day working week. Similar action on Tuesday caused disruption for many passengers and businesses across the capital. Well, we can join our reporter Bryony Williams, who's got more on this. Hi, Bryony.
Hi, and we've actually had some figures released by Transport for London from the strike on Tuesday. It says that 60% of tube drivers turned up for work across the 24 hours, meaning that they could run services about between a 4 to 6 minute frequencies on the lines that are operating. And it also put out figures that 3.4 million people across the network were tapping in and tapping out using contactless and Oyster cards. Now, this kind of paints a relatively calm picture that everything was kind of running not quite as normal, but with a little bit of disruption. But if you actually talk to people who were involved and in the thick of it, businesses losing trade because the footfall wasn't there, and commuters who were describing it as chaotic and frustrating. So two different pictures there. But I've been speaking to commuters here at King's Cross, and really their sentiment that it was extremely annoying.
My journey home yesterday was a disaster. The Hammersmith strike line was completely off, so then it was an hour and a half instead of 45 minutes.
It was uncomfortable, yeah, but an experience. I don't wish it for the people who actually live here right now.
I have young children who I need to pick up from school as well, so it was very hard to me to try, and I didn't want to leave my kids home or ignore my work, so yeah, very impacted. I have to take a train and a tube to get to work, and yeah, it's stressful. There are events that keep happening that I can't miss. Yeah, not easy at all.
Well, just a reminder, this industrial action is all about a dispute over the introduction of a voluntary 4-day working week. The unions involved, ASLEF, they're on board with the plan, but the RMT union say that it will have a negative impact on its drivers. Now, we have heard from the RMT union today. They say they've got strong support from their members for industrial action, but they're always ready to have talks to agree to a settlement, whereas TfLs are urging the RMT union to resolve any questions it has over this 4-day working week. But of course, the strike starts tonight at midnight for 24 hours, so the whole of Thursday. The Circle and Piccadilly lines will be completely closed, and there will be a partial service on the Metropolitan and Central lines. Of course, the buses, trams, Overground and DLR will all still be running as usual, but keep updated by having a look at the BBC London website.
Absolutely, and very windy out there. We will, of course, get a weather check later on in the programme as well. Thanks, Bryony. Now, can spending time with a pet help your mental health? One London NHS trust thinks so, and is rolling out animal therapy across its services. So, how can it help someone experiencing mental health issues? And what does it take for an animal to be right for the role? Lakshmi Gopal went to find out.
Ruby isn't just going for a walk, she's going to work. She's a therapy dog, offered as part of NHS mental health services.
Hello. Hi, can I say hi? Yeah, of course you can. Hello, this is Ruby.
She helps people like Frankie, a former service user who's been through extremely difficult times.
I couldn't engage with traditional talking therapies. I found it really difficult to open up. But pet therapy, there's no sort of judgment there. and they're just the most calming, soothing influence.
Ruby's had no specialist training. Her owner, Katia, took her to be assessed by a charity after seeing her potential. The role requires a lot in an often noisy, busy hospital setting.
She needs to be able to be stroked by a lot of people, needs to be petted. So that's one of the things in the assessment. They touch her tail, they touch her ears, they touch her belly, they touch her back. No licking, no jumping up. None of these things that your pet at home would do.
So a lot of research has been done into showing that pet therapy can be really beneficial for the patients. So for our patients, a lot of them haven't had the chance to explore a lot of safe and nurturing relationships. So having the pet there kind of helps to foster that relationship, and they can explore that in a longer period of time.
Some experts say more research is needed, but the Trust is now rolling out animal therapy across all its sites after seeing the benefits.
It has a great effect on people who've been suffering from trauma in the past. It also has a great effect on those diagnosed with bipolar affective disorder and reducing agitation, and really works well for those with dementia as well.
The Trust says scaling up the animal therapy programme will cost thousands of pounds, but that it's a small price for the big difference it can make. Lakshmi Gopal, BBC London.
And if you or someone you know may be struggling with their mental health, there is support out there. And the BBC has put together a list of organisations who can help in confidence. Just search for BBC Action Line. A look at other local stories on BBC News. Emergency services in Hertfordshire have tested their extreme weather response with an exercise on the slopes at the Snow Centre in Hemel. There's a health warning across the southeast about toxic caterpillars found near oak trees. Their tiny hairs can trigger allergic reactions and skin irritations. And the Marilyn portrait created in Essex using 150,000 crystals for the 100th anniversary of her birth. It'll go on show in London. For more, just head over to the BBC News app. Now, ahead of this year's World Cup starting in just over a week, take a look at the current England captain in a moment, as you may not have seen him before. Madame Tussauds has unveiled Londoner Harry Kane as its latest work, which took 6 months to craft. He says he can't believe the likeness.
For me, the face, the eyes, it's so realistic. Even the eyebrows, this kind of flicker of things that I think just I see of myself, obviously when I'm getting ready and all that. It's pretty crazy that we can get that much detail in there.
Well, the England captain will be hoping to lift the Men's World Cup trophy this year as England supporters dream of another chance of something that hasn't been done since 1966. As excitement builds, Graham Satchell has been to meet some of the fans who were at Wembley when England became world champions and now live where the squad stayed 60 years ago.
How can you describe it? Magic.
I've got a ticket for the cup final. She said, what? I said, yes.
For those lucky enough to be there, it's a day they'll never forget. England played every game of the World Cup at Wembley. They stayed just a few miles away at Hendon Hall Hotel. Fans seem to have almost open access to stars like Bobby Charlton and the great Gordon Banks. Today, Hendon Hall has become a care home, and as part of Care Home Open Week, they're putting on a series of events to celebrate their connection with the World Cup.
My ticket for the final was 10 shillings and sixpence, which is 55p.
55p for a World Cup final ticket? I mean, and what do you think that is in today's money?
I looked it up, actually. It's about £8.
£8?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is astonishing how things have changed.
The cinema room and a special treat, a rerun of the whole game.
We were 1-0 down fairly early on. It was exciting but worrying.
With a picket. Victory seemed just moments away.
It was just incredible.
On the pitch, they think it's all over. It is now. It's four.
Marion went around telling our friends that Edward says that he's had 3 magnificent days in his lifetime. The day we got married, the day our first child was born, and the day England won the World Cup. But not necessarily in that order. Thank you very much.
Lovely, getting us in the mood for the World Cup. Right, let's get a check on the weather, or should I say rain, with Kate. Hello, what have you got for us?
Lots of things I've got for you this evening. We've had all the weathers today. We've had sunshine, we've had showers, we've had heavy rain. It's been really breezy as well. So that has all resulted in puddles. Now, it's this low pressure which has been driving these frontal systems towards us, bringing these spells of rain. We've still got a few. It's left lots of very dramatic puddles across London. But once that first band of rain cleared out of the way, we've actually had a few sunny spells. And actually, it's felt quite warm in those sunny spells, despite the breeze. Those sunny spells, of course, have sparked off some showers, and we've still got some of those overnight tonight. We are going to hang on to that rather fresh southwesterly breeze. It is going to help with the showers to push them through, but they still could be quite heavy. It's still quite warm overnight as well. Minimum temperature 11 to 13 Celsius. So first thing tomorrow morning, further showers, but some breaks in the clouds, so some sunny spells. Heavier showers for the afternoon. We are more likely to hear some rumbles of thunder and get some lightning tomorrow in comparison to today. So similar to yesterday, thunder-wise, but temperatures getting up to 18 or 19 Celsius. We've still got a few sunny spells between those showers. Then, as we head further through the week, overnight on Thursday, those showers should fade as a little ridge of high pressure starts to build. It squeezes them out of the way, so it becomes drier and the wind falls a bit lighter as well. Minimum temperature, again, 9 to 11. Probably a little bit cooler under those clearer skies. Now, for Friday, it is looking like the better day. It is looking dry at the moment. Some sunshine for the morning, middle part of the day, a little bit of cloud, but it is looking dry on Friday. Once that cloud disappears, some sunshine to end the day, and temperatures between 16 and 18 Celsius, still in the high teens. Now, as we head into the weekend, we've got a little system to the south of us, which looks likely it's going to move north. There's quite a bit of uncertainty around it, but it is looking showery for Saturday. Those showers should clear by the evening. For Sunday, some slightly less cool air, so temperatures back up in the low 20s, but we still have some outbreaks of rain and some drizzle.
So still a bit of everything. Yes. Kate, thank you. That is it for now, so thanks very much for being with us. More stories on our website, including the latest on the tube strike, and you can get travel updates on BBC Radio London, of course. From me and everyone on the team here, do have a good evening. Take care. Bye-bye.